Hi there. My name is Leonard Parker, and I'm the owner of Destiny Marketing Solutions. We are a team of digital marketers that are focused on helping damage restoration business owners and contractors such as yourself really excel with your online marketing and really realize a good ROI on your online presence. Now, if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button because we produce and publish videos regularly that go over different digital marketing topics that you can use for your own campaign and really help you excel with your digital presence. Now, in this video, it's a little bit different than some of our other videos. I'm going to go over what are some things you should consider when you're looking for a digital marketing team or digital marketing company to manage and lead your digital marketing strategy. And by no means is this a comprehensive list, but it's some questions and some things you need to consider when you're selecting that team or if you're trying to decide between different teams. So the first things first is, do they have experience with not only the damage restoration industry, but also the specific marketing channel that you're looking for? And I'll start with that second piece. So if you're really looking to build your presence on Google, then SEO is where you want to go, and AdWords is where you want to go. But let's say you might not even want to focus on SEO ads. Maybe you really want to grow a social following or really perfect your email campaign. In that case, you need to make sure that that company, that provider, actually has experience with that tactic, and more importantly, have proof of their results, whatever that tactic may be. So typically SEO, it's going to be increase in organic traffic from previous campaigns, actual reporting on leads and conversions, and then rankings, which for some reason is always the number one thing that people look at. I would say rankings are a byproduct of some of the other metrics I just mentioned, but they're always going to be important because if your website is ranking higher, then more than likely you're going to get more traffic with that higher ranking. Now, I think some firms honestly sell rankings, but they might be rankings for irrelevant phrases or phrases that have no search volume. So I won't always use rankings as a it's not a black or white metric. You really need to understand the context of the ranking improvements that they're showing you, and if they actually generated traffic, and if they actually generated good results in the form of leads and conversions and jobs for in those previous campaigns. Now, going back to the first point there, it's quite normal that some digital agencies, especially when they're starting, they're going to take on campaigns and opportunities in many different industries outside of damage restoration. In those cases, you just want to make sure that they do have experience and expertise working with damage restoration businesses, and make sure that they can actually provide the result. So, feel free to ask them for, a recommendation or, a contact from one of their previous clients or current clients that can vouch for their services. This is a great way that you can have peace of mind that your investment isn't going to be wasted. Make sure that there's some type of contract where regardless of whatever the service you're providing, that there are going to be certain deliverables provided that, if they're not provided, that could lead to the end of the campaign before the term ends. Or even in that contract, you might want to also have specified how many times you're going to meet and what is the method of those meetings. So many digital campaign or digital agencies, they're going to be online. So all of the work is online. So it's not out of the norm to have a business in Houston, but your marketing company maybe it's in Florida. But there, you can do video chat, you can do screen shares, and of course you can go back and forth with email reports, where you can at least stay abreast of your campaign and its progress over time. But you want to make sure that that agency, they have someone who's dedicated to your account, to your campaign, and can be the go-to person whenever asking questions, or if you have any concerns. What some of the feedback that I get from many of my clients is that communication isn't always there. And one thing that we've found that really helps, and maybe if you and your provider aren't on the same page, is the use of Google Docs, where basically they can go in there, update it, and then you'll see those updates on a regular basis. So just some ways to think outside the box to make sure that you're getting the customer service that you're looking for. Other than that, like I said, you want to make sure that they actually provide the service and have proof of the services that they are selling you. You want to make sure that they are managing the lead generation process in regards to the proper tracking is set up, and that those notifications, whether it's call tracking, whether it's notifications for when a form is filled out on your website, that proper notifications are going to the person on your team in charge of handling new leads and new prospective customers. So you want to make sure that process is streamlined, so that your website is producing good form fills, good phone calls, but no one's tracking, or they're not being directed correctly. Other than that, you also want to kind of dig a little bit deeper into if you're getting SEO, which I'll get into at the end of the video, or if you do advertising, kind of better understand at a high level their strategy. And if it doesn't make sense, make sure that you ask questions. That way, you know exactly what you're paying for, and you know what KPIs that they're tracking and really trying to improve over the course of the campaign. If you're not familiar with those KPIs, ask a question. That's before you sign the contract. That's when you want to ask those questions. And then let's say if you're getting a new website built, and this is a common service that digital marketing agencies offer, like the other services, you want to make sure that you see examples of their work and that you want to understand the process. So understand how much input that you would have in the development of your website. Now, if the communication is good there, you want to have certain milestones for your website development. So, maybe the first step is wireframes and mockups. Then you move over to a staging site where, by priority, there's different pages that are going to be added to the website. Now, one thing I see common, and this is usually with web design firms that don't specialize in other forms of marketing, is that once the website is built, they don't do the SEO, even the basic on-page stuff. So you want to make sure that you understand whether or not they will be SEOing the website, doing the SEO after the website or even before the website goes live. And if not, that you have some budget to get that website SEO'd. Because having a website is great, but if no one's able to find you, or if it's not optimized for conversions, speaking of ads, then it's pretty much useless. It's just, a placeholder on the web for your business. Other than that, I already went over how often there will be communication. So if you prefer to meet with someone in person, whether at their office or having them come to your office, then you might want to limit your search to local providers. But if you're open to video calls or just regular phone calls, then you can look elsewhere for your digital marketing needs. And then you also, again, want to understand the channel. So would it be email? What would be the best way to contact your provider? Email, phone, or some agencies may use a team management dashboard where you can log in and see progress on different tasks, or even maybe Google Documents where all of the tasks are laid out in a Google Sheet, and then you can log in. You'll have a link to the Google Sheet. You can log in and actually see the progress on different tasks for the campaign. Another question that comes up often is, are your services provided in-house or do you outsource? And to be honest, guys and gals who are watching, pretty much every digital marketing agency, if there's a team, there's usually going to be an offshore team that's doing the grunt work. It just makes the most sense business-wise to have an offshore team doing some of the, more I would say more repetitive work, and then having the onshore team to do strategy. And don't be surprised when you hear this. The important thing you want to know is that the strategy work that's being handled by someone onshore, not saying that offshore team members can't handle it, but if you're targeting a U.S. market, you want someone who understands the U.S. market, and that's usually going to be someone who lives here or is from here. That's just the way it goes. But if they're using an offshore team, make sure that there is some quality control as far as the writing, the meta descriptions, the page titles, and so on, so that you don't have something weird content on your site that's not quite right. Make sure that there is some type of editorial process there. And then lastly, and this is a point that I really want to go into detail about, is how they do their SEO. And so if you are familiar with SEO at all, you might have heard there's white hat, gray hat, and black hat. Where white hat, these are looked upon as the most ethical tactics for doing SEO. Gray hat is a mix of white hat and black hat unfortunately is seen as different methods that aren't as ethical for SEO. And I'm not saying that one is right or one is wrong, but in my opinion, and there are going to be SEO experts and consultants that might disagree, but any SEO to your website is at best gray hat, because in some way you are manipulating your website in order to manipulate your rankings in Google, your visibility in Google. So the whole white hat, I really see that as a marketing gimmick to really differentiate from other SEO providers. But most SEO teams, they're going to be doing a mixture of these different tactics. And like I said, gray hat, usually it's the mixture is usually where most SEO agencies are going to be doing their work. Now for black hat, there are probably hundreds of different tactics out there that would be considered black hat. But I would say probably the most commonly used and one that comes up in a lot of content online is the use of PBNs or private blog networks. Now, again, I'm not saying using PBNs is wrong or right. I have used them myself for different projects, and I've seen when it's done correctly, they work very well. So it's really the question goes back to you, and you can think of it white hat if you believe that there's an actual white hat. These are the most conservative ways of doing SEO, while black hat is the most risky. So if you have had a website up for the last 15 or 20 years for your damage restoration business, if your rankings were to drop within a day, that's very risky for your business. And so in that case, you might want to really be careful using gray hat or black hat strategies. But let's say you're a new business and you're looking to really see some growth and see some growth quickly with your online presence, then you might want to go on the risky side and use some of your black hat strategies. And then even, black hat is considered riskier when those different tactics are done correctly and properly. They're not risky at all. So let's say, you want to go to PBN route. PBNs, again, they stand for private blog network links. There's a strategy where you buy a website. So let's just say I bought waterdamagerestorationexperts.com, and that website is going to be all about water damage restoration. And you pretty much publish content there with links back to your website over time. If you're doing that correctly, and I won't get into the best practices for a PBN, but if you're doing that correctly or your provider is doing that correctly, that can be a very powerful benefit to your SEO strategy and progress. But the important part is, are they doing it correctly? And that's something that preferably that your provider is transparent with you on. If they're not willing to be transparent with how they go about building links, then they might not be the best provider, because as the business owner, this is your investment. And just if you were investing in stock or something financial for your portfolio, you need to really understand what you're investing in and what are the downsides and the upsides for any strategy that you're using for your SEO. So that's my take, but hopefully that kind of gives you enough information to start to vet different digital marketing agencies for your digital marketing needs. So thank you for watching the video. Again, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.